Hello, and welcome back to Faces of Truth, where we attempt to help America think for themselves again. My name is Alexander McCauley.
I'm Megan McCauley.
We'll be co-hosts for this episode. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about what's really happening and the link between the riots and the disease.
There's an underlying disease called hate.
We're going to show that we've got two Queens of Hearts and two Mad Hatters pulling our beards. Interestingly enough, my last episode I talked about corporate becoming extremely abusive. Well, I've done a little bit more research recently and found out that it's not corporate. It's much bigger than that. It's the NIH. And the Mad Hatter at its head.
Who's at its head?
Anthony Fauci.
Oh, right. What does the NIH stand for again? Everybody probably knows this, but...
National Infection something or other.
What was it instated?
I have absolutely no idea. I have not done any research.
I'm going to look that up. I'd like to know.
Good idea.
If it just so happened to get made up this year...
We will know that it's Democrat manipulation. Yep. And we are in the middle of a hostage crisis. Oh! Did anyone get the memo? We are presently being quarantined from the world. Good riddance.
Okay, well, I just made myself...
Actually, now we need to quit paying our dues to the UN, which is basically screwing us over right now.
Guess when it was created?
When?
1887, Stapleton, New York.
NIH. 1800s. Oh, what does it stand for?
Hygienic Laboratory... Wait, hang on. National Institute of Health.
Yeah, okay. National Institute of Health.
I wonder if Florence... When was Florence Nightingale?
No, this would be United States, and Florence Nightingale is...
England?
I think she was Britain. She may have been France. Not sure. I didn't know, baby. Anyway, so Fauci and Birx are our first Queen of Hearts and Mad Hatter. Basically totally batty, and yet they've got us all under... they've got us all hostage. Of course, throughout history, the ones to take people hostage have been the insane ones. Actually, these two are so insane they really need to be locked up. Committed. Why am I attacking them so hard? Well, let's see. Anyone that actually thinks that a virus is alive, they're crazy. All it is a message in a bottle. It's proteins and RNA. That's it. That's all. The cell itself produces viruses. Usually when a cell produces viruses, it doesn't produce them in mass quantities. It only produces enough that can actually get through the cell membrane and spread updates in the code throughout the body. This is the way that the body's cells communicate with each other. Oh, we did this today. You might want to implement this, etc. So they're basically the cellular memo system. Oops, we got some kitty kung fu going on over there. Anyway.
Cats don't know how to do social distancing.
No. Oh, by the way, guess what? We just figured out, no, I've known it all along, but most people have just figured out what the 6 foot was for. Now that we're going into the second wave, they're literally tracking phones to see who was near anyone that was suspected of COVID-19, being infected with COVID-19. And they're considering them live cases. Oops, let's see. How does this work? Everyone within the vicinity of said sniffly person over there will be counted and put on the rolls of cases, whether they've got it or not. Well, let's just say...
When you said that, it reminded me of when
that
Jesus
this
was born and every man was counted and taxed or something.
Oh, yes, exactly. Every single one of us is counted or taxed whether we're working or not, whether we're being suffocated under a mask or not. Oh!
Whether we're being held hostage or not.
Whether we're being held hostage or not, yes. However, we continue to see the Democrats, oh my goodness, every Democrat politician has been saying, don't make the blacks wear a mask. Isn't it Fauci and Birx that said minorities were the most susceptible to COVID-19?
Here's the thing. A house divided against itself cannot stand.
You're right.
Simple truth.
Simple truth.
Three guesses who said that. I think it was the man who tried to free the slaves. Abraham Lincoln, who we are now.
Actually, if that was the case,
I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
He was quoting another very good man that was trying to free us from sin, Jesus Christ.
Well,
both
he was
of them
quoting the Bible. He was also the one who said, "All I am and ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother."
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's ain't to an angel right now.
What this entire hostage crisis boils down to is something we're calling cancel culture, but what it really turns out to be is compliance culture. They're trying to make us good and compliant. Some of us aren't letting it happen.
Oh.
We aren't complying. We aren't letting people step on us. However, in some environments, you do have to wear the mask if you're going to work. In other words,
it's not a choice, it's forced.
It is. And scientifically, it's been proven that, hello.
We have a mountain climber here.
Yes, we do. Her name's Tiny. She's good. Oh my goodness, you just flipping stuff. Oh. Anyway,
Eat my baby.
conformity. Okay, so the reason that the Democrats are encouraging the tearing down of pause, stop, what? We're still recording, okay. The reason the Democrats are demanding that Confederate general statues be torn down and the name Dixie be stricken from every geological or geographical location on Earth in the United States, and the Southern flag be taken down entirety is not because of racism. It's because it's the symbol of nonconformity. Understandably, that nonconformity was the fact that they did not want, the South did not want to sabotage their economy by letting go of their slaves. But it was in conformity. And this, in conformity, yes, inconformity is the foundation of the United States. Slavery is not. Every man is his own political leader.
It seems to me like they're trying to erase history and make something new. And I'm sorry, but mankind cannot do that because it is written in the book of life what happened in the past. And nobody but God himself can erase that. Sorry.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it.
And he's already erased all that through the atoning blood of his Son, Jesus Christ. These buffoons going around vandalizing and raiding,
thinking that they can tear down history. They're a little messed up in the brain.
They are. Recently up in St. Louis, Missouri, our state, we had a Black Lives Matter mob break into a private estate. If it weren't for the fact that the lawyer who owned it had a gun, they would have burnt the estate to the ground.
And they're trying to take our gun rights away. Why do you think? So that they can smush us even more under their feet and make us slaves. These people who are doing these riots everywhere think that they're protesting slavery. Well, guess what? They're promoting it. They're backing up the people who want to enslave not only them or the people they're fighting for, but everyone.
This mentality
Except
this mentality actually started way back, or this ideology, I should say, because that's what it is. It's an ideology. Started way back in
But it comes
the
from idiots.
1600s. There were a group of elite intellects who decided that they should be the only property owners and everyone else should be.
Oh, just to, because I know a lot of people might say that what we're saying sounds like Trump. Well, let me tell you something. Our issues are not coming from the presidency. It's coming from the Congress, who should be doing what the people want and what they need and say. They're not. They're acting like they own us. That's where the problem is and lies. Not with the president. He has nothing to say about any of this. He's just there trying to make sure that the country runs right.
He's just there trying to make sure the country doesn't fall apart and that
Well, that's what I meant when I said
the
runs
people are protected while the Congress makes idiots out of themselves, which brings up the second pair of Queen of Hearts and Mad Hatter, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Drunk Nancy, with her chocolate ice cream and $1,600, not $1,600, and her $2,500 refrigerators to put it in.
Oh, so she likes getting chocolate wasted?
Oh yeah. She right in the middle of the hostage crisis when a lot of America was starving to death.
Oh, who does that remind you of?
Oh my goodness.
If they have no bread, let them eat cake.
Exactly.
Marie Antoinette, guess what happened to her? She got the cake cut.
What's interesting is that a lot of the elites nowadays, the revolt they're fomenting is turning back on themselves. I heard, I think it was on Fox News being broadcast through St. George News Radio, that...
I hate Fox News.
Yeah, I know. So does Mom.
The bad in the world.
Anyway, they stated that Black Lives Matter actually or one of the Antifa squads actually erected a guillotine just outside of Jeff Bezos' house. Jeff Bezos has been one of the biggest contributors to this cause.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
It makes absolutely no sense to anybody, but I can see how the twisted zombies...
Hang on just a second. On the top of Amazon Video, it's all black. Like every single thing you see in the shows and movies that is being
well, you do realize that he's
put up there to advertise is black. And he has a ton of COVID-19. Oh, look, we have masks for you. Hey, look at what we're trying to do with our...
Hey, look at the sports mask that shoots unfiltered air out.
And he also has... Yeah, right. But he also has like updates on how he's trying to keep his employees, quote unquote, safe. Tell me that's not backing up all the crap that's happening nowadays to divide and conquer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on with what you were saying.
Well, this movement actually began back in the 1600s when groups of elites decided they should be the property owners, and everyone else should be land. Should rent the land from them. These were called kings. They owned all the land, and everyone else rented through the tax system their land from these kings. The kings charged taxes that were unbearable. Some of them were benevolent. But in 1776, well, actually, kings started way back at, well, back before Christ, actually. It's one of the oldest governments.
Anytime you have an empire, there's going to be taxes. There's going to be people trying to stomp on the little man that's actually trying to
make something
of himself and become successful, because it comes from the times of the Egyptians, all the way back then.
Comes from the times of Cain. Actually, Cain was the first person to found a monarchy with him at the head. With mystery schools pulling the strings behind the throne. Making up pseudoscientific stories to manipulate the masses while...
So, once again, like I was saying before, the downfall of what's... Downfall? Is that even... Am I thinking correctly? The stuff that's happening right now in America is not... I repeat, not the president's fault.
Right.
Because this takes time, and it takes premeditated... What would you call it? Premeditated...
conspiracy. Premeditated conspiracy.
To get all this together and done. This didn't happen overnight. It's been planned for a while.
Actually, they've been planning it since H.G. Wells penned his first work. H.G. Wells was one of the more recent intellects.
I think they've been planning it since the 1800s.
Anyway, he used to actually, his science fiction was predictive fiction. And he saw a world where eventually no one would own property. Property would be the government's, and everyone would be allowed to live and use, as long as the government thought you were doing what you should with it.
That's not right. That's what we fled from.
Exactly. That's what
why we broke
America
away from the motherland.
abolished when we designed our...
And we're literally going against what the founders were trying to make for their posterity.
Pelosi, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, that Presley girl, they're all promoting the reversion of our society into a monarchical state where all land is owned by the government.
Yeah, but you can't even own a business anymore without so much red tape. And you can't own your own product anymore without a horrendous amount of red tape. Being taxed through the nose. You don't own any. If you come up with an idea, you don't own that idea.
No.
That's just a figment of your imagination. 3 guesses who owns it?
It's government corporations.
Yeah.
It's literally, your idea, the minute that it comes out on paper and you try to get a patent, becomes
Corporate.
co-opted by the
Where's the American dream in that?
military-industrial complex.
Where's the American dream in that?
There is no American dream in that. When Barack Hussein, or I call him Barack Insane Obama, said that there was no more American dream,
And America's insane
he
if
wasn't
Biden
kidding.
gets in.
However, he was part and parcel of destroying that American dream. How? He enabled the mainstream media to become propaganda central. Everything, CNN, NBC, ABC, PBS.
You said it was all propagandistic, right?
No, Barack
He turned
Hussein
it
Obama basically unmuzzled the attack dogs in the media. And he gave them some motivation just before he left office to make it extremely hard for people who wanted their liberty. And I will tell you, most people in America still want their liberty. We have been being poisoned by all media outlets except those who have gone against the flow.
I think 30 and over want their liberty. 30 and under don't give a crap.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know, anyway.
You're talking about all those zombies I saw flooding the squares and toppling statues and
Oh, yeah.
throwing Molotov cocktails. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones they don't
The ones that are media zombies. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But then they never really were taught history either.
Yeah. They're
They were
zombies generated in the universities.
Version from the people who want everyone to be in submission and slavery to them. And they're willing to accept it.
Anyway.
Because they're, what's that word? I always forget entitled. They're entitled. And they think that everyone, including the government, owes them something. So they're akin to the socialist regime.
Yeah. There's a man who popularized, the first person to popularize these things that I came across in the 20th century. Well, at least he's one of the most outspoken and advocates of this type of system. His name was Buckminster Fuller. The man who invented the mobile home. He did a whole lot more than invent the mobile home. He invented an electric fan. He invented I think he even invented an electric plane that didn't quite work right yet. He also invented a global network of corporations that would be staffed by qualified people who would basically university-educated zombies who would see that resources flowed smoothly according to the government's whims, and that the government got what they needed as far as technological development was concerned. They would designate what certain countries would be able to manufacture or provide or services, etc. Basically, they were a huge global zoning committee. Later on, we find popularizers of this idea, such as Jacques Fresco, coming up with ideas based on Buckminster Fuller's modular housing designs to basically house people without having to own anything. And designing communities centered around central clearinghouses where you could literally requisition anything you wanted. If you wanted to make a film, you could requisition cameras, lighting equipment, the green screen, etc. We've found out throughout history that this type of system does not work. When people don't have to pay something for the equipment they use, they usually destroy it. They don't respect it. However, you get these communities up and running, and they end up all of one color, no diversity. Sort of like the communities of sameness in the novel The Giver.
Well, that was a black and white community, so you wouldn't know.
Well, no, that's not the.
There was no color there.
The idea is all beauty was taken out of the community.
Yeah.
Therefore, the life became. Anyway, I am totally all over technology. I love technology. However, the way it's being used to control and manipulate is heinous. As in America, as a bastion of liberty, we need to realize that as citizens we are being fomented against one another. We need to unite as one nation in love,
not hate.
not
These
hate.
Protests do not have
And
hang on. I have heard and seen at least 2 or 3 of these protests. There's not a single ounce of love
in them. Yep.
Not a
Both
single.
sides every time have just a